pedophilia and despair are linked together massively in the repression of sexuality. This is the real crime of Christianity as we know it, is demonizing sex.
Yes. Would not be greeted warmly by any head of state. It would be persona non grata in any visit to a foreign country. In fact, they ought to be arrested in their own country. But somehow we're treating the Pope differently. And I think what Dawkins is doing is highlighting the hypocrisy of the way we're doing this. We're not subjecting the Pope to hard questions when we should be.
Mm-hmm. Tell people exactly what Dawkins did.
He has been talking with some lawyers, and they want to, it was actually Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens working together on this. And they've been talking to some lawyers. The lawyers are going to be the ones who do it, not Dawkins and Hitchens, of course. And what they want to do is actually file a complaint and say, we ought to arrest the Pope for his crimes when he lands in England. I don't know how far we'll get. I seriously can't believe it will actually happen. But it certainly gets people's attention and makes them start thinking, well, what's our reason for not arresting him?
I know you've been dreaming about seeing the Pope do the perp walk, as you put it.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Even if he made bail, get flown back to the Vatican, just that photo op would be so great.
Well, and it does have a lot to do with what we've been talking about, morality, and how the relationship between truth and morality and science.
Yeah, and it also has to do with what you were saying, that morality is plastic and development is plastic. And so when we have systems that try to dictate exactly how morality should be, like the Catholic Church, they're going against human nature. Nature is much more flexible than that.
But new revelations and claims of abuse continue to rock the Vatican. An investigation by the Associated Press suggests that Pope Benedict's hand-picked replacement to oversee abuse cases at the Vatican did nothing to restrict a California priest after learning that he had previously molested a 13-year-old boy. As the scandal spreads across Europe and Latin America, bishops in Ireland, Germany, and Belgium have resigned, and new abuse allegations are emerging in Norway and Chile. Here in the United States, an alleged victim of priest abuse in Wisconsin announced a lawsuit against the Vatican last week. The lawsuit alleges that Pope Benedict, in his former role as Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, and two senior Vatican officials failed to act when the Wisconsin church reported the alleged abuse by the late Father Joseph Murphy in the 1990s. The Vatican says the lawsuit is without merit and, quote, rehashes old theories already rejected by U.S. courts.
What has also happened today is that Bishop John McGee, who served as the secretary to the Pope's three papal predecessors before returning to Ireland, apologized to any of the pedophile priests who were kept, apologized to the victims of any of the pedophile priests who were kept in the parish post during his 23 years overseeing the Southwest Irish diocese, and resigned. The Irish archbishop, or the Irish bishop that has resigned. Coincidentally, we did make contact with David Lorenz. He is with the group SNAP. It is an organization that helps those who have been abused by priests and has been working on behalf of these issues for quite some time. David, thank you for being available.
Well, thank you for taking the call.
We appreciate it. I just finished telling the story of Father Murphy, this New York Times article that came out today, the one who, according to the article, molested 200 deaf boys.
Right.
Now, what is new about this story today?
The news about this, what's new about this story, we certainly have had plenty of priests who have abused many children. What's new about this is the bishop, his bishop contacted the Vatican. I apologize for the background noise.
That's all right. We kind of caught you on the spur of the moment, so we appreciate you being available.
He contacted the Vatican and begged the Vatican to remove this priest from ministry. And the Vatican basically stalled for quite some time, and then only when the bishops pressed into another office, which was not the Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith, did they get a response which basically said, no, you leave him alone. We're going to let him ride as a priest, and we're going to keep him around.
And according to this article, he continued to work freely among children.
Yes, he did. They did move him out of the diocese, but he basically went up to his mother's cabin and served. Was not officially assigned to another parish, but worked in many parishes and worked among children and among the deaf community again, which is where he abused many children. And I want to get back to the CDF. The Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith, which is the CDF, was at the time being run by Cardinal Ratzinger, who is now Pope Benedict XVI.
Well, that was one of the questions I wanted to ask you. The Pope has been under increasing pressure because of new cases that are being investigated in several European countries. It's getting nearer to him, and this is one that ran across his desk before he became Pope. Do you think the Pope is going to end up being further complicated by that?
There's no doubt it's going to be further complicated. Are there, exactly how much he's implicated? Certainly he had letters were addressed to him. We have no direct letters written by him, but his second in command, his lieutenant, his secretary, did write letters, and he did write the letter that and it was from the Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith. He was speaking for that group, which let this priest back in ministry. What we're looking for is, exactly how much did this happen? How many other cases were there? We really want the Vatican to release the documentation on this and show us exactly how well or how not so well they handled this.
And of course, I mean, not only is this now an oft-told story, but another part of this, according to the New York Times article, is an oft-told story. They say, and I'm quoting, 8 months later, Ratzinger's second-in-command initiated proceedings against Murphy, but dropped the case after Murphy wrote to Ratzinger protesting that he should not be put on trial, and now I'm paraphrasing, in part because he had already repented.
Correct.
How often have you heard that story?
I've heard it from the person who abused me 50 times before I ever met him. He went to the bishop, put him in therapy and so many other things, and the bishop kept putting him back out in ministry, and he kept saying, no, I'm cured, I'm okay. And he did that 50 different times before the bishop finally assigned him to be guidance counselor at an all-male high school. And that is one of the problems that's been faced not only in the Catholic Church, but many other churches as well. When there has been someone with a condition like being a pedophile, being a molester, with a condition that has not been called a condition, and they just simply say, well, he's repented. And I understand they wanted to be good-hearted and respond in some gracious way to repentance, but the problem is that repentance doesn't mean the problem's been taken care of. No, that's exactly right. People ask us to, they ask for forgiveness, and we can forgive. Actually, I find it relatively easy to forgive the person who abused me. I think he was a very sick man, and you can kind of look at that and say he had a horrible sickness. I still have trouble with it a little bit, but you can get by that. It's the bishop putting him back out into and saying, okay, he's cured. He sinned. I gave him, I gave him absolution. He's okay. Let's put him back in. And you've got a person. It's like putting an alcoholic in, as a bartender. You don't do that.
This is Talk from the Heart. My name is Rich Bueller. With us on the phone, David Lorenz from the organization SNAP. What does SNAP stand for?
It stands for Survivors Network of Those Abused by Priests.
That's right. I didn't have it here in front of me because we were hoping to get in touch with you, but it came to me spontaneously, and so I didn't have it right here in front of me. David himself was a victim of a molesting priest. He has been with SNAP for quite some time and is one of their spokespersons, and we will continue. Do you have a few more minutes, David?
Sure, go ahead.
Stand by.